Hello.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. You found your way to the Sacred Wisdom Circle. And here we ask you to remember what the world has asked you to forget, that you are not broken, that you are not lost, and that you are the light. So, welcome, welcome, welcome.
Welcome. Oh, this is so good. I'm excited to be back. Last week was a little rushed for me because I had to head off somewhere, but and I was not feeling well. So I'm very excited to be back and in full energy today.
Yes, and I'm so excited. I wish Pam was here because like she sent us that notification that we are now on cable TV and the I was so thrilled to find out how many time slots we have. So for those of you listening, this is the cable TV in the Georgina area and hopefully we will expand to other areas too, but apparently we're airing Mondays at 12, Tuesdays at 12 and 7:30, Thursdays at 8:30 AM and 6:30 PM, and Fridays at 6:30 PM.
That's
So
incredible.
that is so I thought, when they said they were gonna give us a time slot, I thought, "Okay, we'll have 1 slot per week."
Right? Oh, this is so exciting.
Oh, and it just speaks to the times that we're in. Like, I just can't hardly, contain the excitement because this kind of conversation needs to happen in the world and it hasn't been allowed. It hasn't been given space. And when I started 30 years ago, we just didn't tell anybody what we were doing.
Hmm.
There were certain people, you'd feel them out first on
Yes.
how they'd respond. And then there were other people that you did not even mention it to because you knew they would shrink your light if they were given that opportunity. So,
It's true. I know when I started in this work, I've only been doing this for 5 years, but that not that time or space means anything, you know what I mean? But
yeah.
there's just even still, there's still like, we're starting to see more of it. We're starting to hear more about it. People are being allowed to do more and I mean literally allowed to do more in this space, but there's still a lot of hesitation. That whole like witch wound, if you will, of like people being in this space and having the fear of expressing themselves fully. I still connect with spiritual entrepreneurs that are not ready to share what they're doing or what they're doing, like you said, about really figuring out who they can and can't share with. But we are getting more vocal. And like I know here in locally where people are embracing like doing we have a spiritual expo here in Prince Edward Island. So that's how it just again shows to the fact that the opportunity, the interest is definitely becoming more and more out there.
A spiritual expo. That sounds exciting. Is that happening soon?
Yeah, we do. We did one in the spring, and there's another one that's happening in October here on Prince Edward Island, the 26th, I believe it's a Sunday. We're also hosting, myself and another woman are hosting, a friend of mine, colleague, are hosting a holistic wellness event as well. So there's very similar, like we're vendors and readers that we're doing in that one, plus the expo, we're having workshops and all kinds of beautiful things. She asked me to be the MC for the expo, so I was super excited to do that. But this is like this year basically has been this opening for us here because we're both in this opportunity where this is the second time we're offering these events.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's so exciting.
Hmm.
So exciting. We
Very
just
much
had our
so.
women's conference here in Red Deer, and that was a really great Her Inspired Journey, and it'll be there again next year. But it is a gathering of women, and it is all about listening to the inner wisdom within you and that, soul path. So had fun doing a workshop there and having a booth there. And yeah, so it is
That's so
so
fun.
fabulous. So people can get out there and I know there's a mystic market coming up here in my town. So I'm like,
Hmm.
that is. Those words always pique my interest because I say I am a soulfully aligned creative mystic. So that I'm like, maybe I should be in there.
There
Uh,
you go. Of course you should.
maybe, yeah. We'll see. So, anyways, this has been a nice week for you to recover and
Hmm.
get yourself back into the groove.
Yeah, definitely feeling the flow more. And unfortunately, we haven't seen or if Pam or Angela, they might jump in a little bit as we continue forward during our session. But I would love to hear your thoughts on just on how this week's went and how the energies are feeling for you.
Oh my goodness. I am feeling really much more centered. I was saying earlier it was fast paced, a very fast paced September, and I felt like I was barely keeping up. And that, it just shows me the growth in my business, which is fabulous, and where I might need a little support, which is fabulous, which is coming in. I actually found some wonderful support from some of my social media. So I'm really excited about that because that can take up a lot of time,
Oh my gosh, yeah.
right? But it feels like I know we've come out of the eclipses. We had a new moon earlier this week. Was that this week?
Yeah, I think
I
so.
had yeah, I'm, like, looking back going, "Was that this week?" I had a TP gathering on yeah, it was Monday night for the new moon and the solstice, right? That
Mhm.
energy too. All of that was, like, whirling around us and very powerful. And now I feel like, okay, I'm in recovery. So calendar was cleared a little bit more and was able just to spend more time getting centered in my meditations because when it gets busy, those routines that keep us grounded and centered kind of sometimes get pushed to the side. And my journaling and writing and that sort of thing. So this week has been a week of coming back to my centeredness. And with that, oh my gosh, so much creative energy is flowing in. I'm super excited to be I'm creating right now this soulfully aligned intuitive painting journey. So it'll
Cool.
be a program that walks, if you've ever wanted to paint, this will be the one that'll walk you from very step one, somebody that hasn't picked up a paintbrush since they were in kindergarten, to creating a really beautiful painting. But it's the process of deep diving into all the let me see, the process of consciously creating in your life at every layer.
Mm.
So that's come in, that beautiful download. It's like, oh, it's time, let's do this. And I'm excited to dive into that creation energy. That's what it feels, expansive. And now, and I'm carrying on and on here, but now I'm in
Good.
the really like, I feel like I have the universe inside me, like
Mm.
expansiveness and being in that infinite part of me, infinite possibilities. There's so many different ways to begin your day. There's so many different ways to create this program, all of that abundance mindset. So that's what I'm feeling right now.
I
And
love that. I host and here on the island, I'm doing in-person expansion circle as well. And this is literally what we talked about this week around, the fact that yes, we have things that we have doubts, we have all these things that are kind of holding us back from that. But like you said, I love that. Every day we have a new opportunity and we can do anything. We get to create in that space every single day, something new, something creative, something that we have no idea, and the potentials are endless. And that we just get to tap into that. But we get so caught up in the day to day in the routine of things that we forget that. It was funny. There's another woman that I'm in a coaching circle that she posted a random question every week. And one of the questions was, what's your favorite day of the week? And mine is Monday. A lot of people don't like Mondays because it's start of the grind and whatever. But for me, it's like a new opportunity just to get into a new week. Like, what do you want to set your intentions for that week? What do you want to create that week? What do you like? I just love this feeling of the expansiveness of the opportunity of the possibilities. It's just so sweet and juicy.
it is. I love that you said that because I love Mondays too.
Yeah.
It is. It's a gateway. It's a portal into something new. Just like every day is a fresh new
Mhm.
start, every Monday is a fresh new start. And We get to do this.
Yeah.
Yes, and for those that maybe hate their Mondays, it might be because you have to go to a job or something that you're not loving, and just know that there are infinite possibilities for you to create the life that you desire, the big
Mhm.
life, the life that you love. So, yeah, that's so you're feeling that energy too then, that
Well,
creation?
now, like I said, over the it was funny, we talked just before we got on the call here. You and I quickly chatted about, like I said, I wasn't feeling so good, and you had mentioned it's like it's almost like it takes over your body, like this other frequency that you have no control over. Something kind of takes you over, and I'm like, I truly felt that this week. So no matter what I did for myself, of just giving myself rest, drinking lots of fluids, self Reiki, like all of these different things, I still felt out of control of it, and that I couldn't move myself out of it because we do try to, and I mean, I've been doing this for a while, so I know I can't force myself into it. It's just I was a gentle like, "Okay, let's just shift this," and it just nothing I could do would work, and, but like you said, it's now I know in that whole process, though, I kept in mind that it wasn't so much just in that, like, me being in it, it was a health upgrade. Like, I know I've been doing work for myself, like, in myself, so knowing that, I also went into through this process, this illness, this cold of which lasted like 2 weeks, but of the fact that I'm releasing as I'm letting go, as it's starting to release and as it's moving on, as I'm releasing what I needed to release through here, like physically, like in the release of movement of that cold or like the things that were moving out and whatever. It was just that's what I knew I was doing. So even in that intention, I was never forcing because I knew it was what's coming feels very much different, and like I said, that's kinda what we talked about is, like, um, moving into that new expansive version of myself, and that's what I loved the intention of last night when we did this expansion circle was there is infinite possibility, and again, just reattaching to that versus the frequency I've been in, into this higher frequency of what's possible because anything is possible when we put our mind to it. Like you said
Oh,
about being in the old job or the thing that we don't feel like is the right space for us, that's okay. But no, there's more opportunity for you. Don't get so much caught in the, oh, it's Monday and have to go back to this job. But there's other opportunities. But we've spent all of our life just looking at this one way to do things. And when you give yourself a moment, and this is what I talk about in our expansion circles, like when you give yourself a moment to just pause and be like, this is the one way I know how to do things. But what if there is other ways? What if there's as many ways as there are stars to create something different? And I've been so focused on this one way, I haven't seen any of the other opportunities. So instead of getting caught in the, I'm stuck here, start focusing on the opportunities, on the so many potentials out there. And when you do, the opportunities start showing up because you're changing your frequency.
ugh, yes. Yes, I love how you said that, that we've been trained to see and do things in a certain way, to go to school, to go on to college or get a trade or, get out there and get working and start saving for retirement.
Right?
It's like, oh my gosh, and yet we gotta break out of that shell a little bit
Mhm.
and start widening that view of what else could I do? I mean, I'm, a teacher, so I love education, but there's so many different ways that you can be educated and expand your knowledge base and become more worldly and then keep reaching out and expanding. Like, you don't necessarily have to have a 9 to 5 job, but you can. For some
Mhm.
people, that's what they truly want. It gives them a sense of security to have that. And that is totally fine. But then outside of that, what else could you do? Where could you go? What could you do? And just keep expanding. What could you create in your life? And I think that brings in, that sense of hope for people. And that I see that, when you look at people and you see the light in their eyes is gone, it's because there's no hope. They haven't been able to see that there is more. And I love helping people come back to their dreams in their heart, like, as you do too. Expansive your expansion circle says it all. Let's expand into more, right?
Right. And what I love about this too is that we get to, like you said, we get to have these opportunities. And like you had mentioned there too around the 9 to 5. And people, as long as you love it doesn't matter what it is, as long as you love it. And if you don't love it, then there's something else out there for you. And you don't have to like go, okay, well, if there's something else out there for me, that's it, I'm done. But like you said, we need to have income. We need to have because the world still functions off of money. So we can't just give up on that thing. But opening yourself up to what else is available for me is just an easy way, like even just asking that question out loud, asking yourself that question opens up more opportunity and that hope that you're talking about. It brings the spark back in. It brings that, like you said, that light back in. And then it opens up possibilities that you would have never seen because you're stuck in the frequency of I'm here and this is the only way it works. Even if you're shifting into, sorry, some of it's still lingering. Um, Even if you're shifting into business, there's opportunity that we sometimes limit ourselves even in business.
Yeah, yeah, very much so. And, um, that expansiveness, the continual growth, like I always say, I wanna be living on the leading edge of creation. And I love that. I see myself as standing on the edge of a cliff, ready to take a step forward. But you know what? It's like I say to a lot of the women in my circles, it's not crowded there. There's a lot of space there because it takes courage to step up into that. And so, when you feel that restlessness in your life, it also is going to require you to take some courageous steps forward and explore new ideas. And I think for a lot of people, I tend to say it doesn't mean you have to leave your job. It doesn't mean you have to leave your marriage. Like it's just because that's the automatic feeling for a lot of people is like, oh my God, I got to make these big changes in my life. And that scares me. It's like, no, no, you get to keep that old paradigm while you create a new paradigm. You start moving forward. And what happens is because your energy changes, your expansion grows and you become a new version of yourself, the other stuff starts to kind of dissolve away on its own without any pushing or shoving. It just takes care of itself. And that's beautiful. Like you said, you get new opportunities coming in, new people start coming in, you start getting noticed because your whole frequency, your energy is vibrating at a whole new level, which brings a whole new version of life in itself around you. Like
Mhm.
a whole new, like it's like if you were, moving from one stage to another. The whole setting is different now. Hi,
100%.
Pam.
Hello.
I'm looking a little funky today with this. Hello, everybody. Sorry I'm late.
That's okay. You're
Uh,
right on time.
Preparing for a wedding tomorrow. So,
That's exciting.
that is fun.
mm,
So we were
yeah,
just talking
officiating.
about. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
So, officiating for a couple that are in their 70s. It sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah,
This
Finding love at 70. I love it.
it's wonderful.
Well, that's what we were just
Wonderful.
talking about is all the possibilities in life, the infinite possibilities that you could create.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
uh, the one thing I want to throw in there too was around, like I said, around business. And sometimes when we're trying to launch a business or we've been in business or in entrepreneurship, we get stuck again, even in that opportunity of this is the one way I've done it. And it's either we find it's not working or we've been doing it and it's just kind of feeling stagnant. And like you said about, you talked earlier about the program that you're now opening up. And it's like we get to adjust, we get to pivot, we get to choose something different every single day. And the way we think it's supposed to come in, the way we cut it again, we get stuck in that this is the thing I'm supposed to do. But it may not be exactly that. And we got to know that we can pivot and shift and change and step into something else if it feels like it needs to move or change, and really pay attention to that, because that's, again, part of those potentials and those opportunities, that it may not be exactly the way we think it's going to look.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So how
Ebbing and flowing and
yeah,
pivoting is so true.
I was just gonna
It's
ask you,
it's a,
Pam,
a
how
real
you
skill.
yeah. I was just gonna ask you
So
how your week is going.
uh, my week has been amazing. Um, it's like, okay, I think we're on a bit of a level aspect right now. I did my talk through at the Georgina Paranormal Society last night, which was really awesome. I spoke about ways to deal with spiritual disturbances. And it was a really, really good. There was about 50 people there, and the energy was just incredible. I had notes written, and it was like the notes were there for me to reflect upon. But it's like once I let go of the notes, so to speak, having to follow, it just flowed, spirit, working through me, and I came home buzzing, like it was just so incredible. And to connect with people and have them engaged in the way that they were, and coming up afterwards and sharing anecdotes and things that they took from it, and asking for business cards. Like it was an amazing experience. It's not like I haven't had it before, but it's just that element of, again, when spirit steps in, the energy. I left there just
Mm,
buzzing, and the feedback was amazing. So it's just that reminder, when you follow your path, and when you're meant to be doing something and it's spirit led, there is just and the feeling stays with you. Like it's like I've been recharged. Is the best way to describe it. So, so the week has been good, really good.
that's awesome. That's kind of what I was saying. It felt like we came through that new moon solstice and the eclipses, and now it felt like it leveled out and creation energy just flooded in.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, so cool. Mm, well, these these beautiful conversations of energy and paranormal and spirituality in different ways and expanding, they just fill me up.
Uh-huh. And I think that what was really interesting about last night, speaking of filling people up, is that this wasn't a young crowd. This crowd was an older crowd, which was really awesome to see. And people sharing about how they've been doing their own work as far as healing a lot of the generational traumas. So it was really fabulous to see that people of all ages, it's not just the young people, are actually stepping into a different level of awareness. So that was really cool to see, because that hasn't always been the case, right? So, and people are being shown the way, but they're being called to it, is the best way that I could describe it from what I saw last night. They really are being called to it, and are understanding that it is for not just their people, but for their lineage, right? So it's incredible. These are incredible times that we are living in. As
Right.
much as, when it's heavy, it's heavy.
Yeah.
It's fascinating, and it's amazing, and loving every aspect of it. Loving that
We're
we are fortunate enough to be on Rogers Cable. Thank you, Rogers TV here in Georgina.
yeah,
Right?
I
Like
just we just
the amount
talked
of
about
times that
that.
we're on in a week. My goodness.
Right? Yeah, we just listed the times earlier we were going to share with you when you were here, but you weren't here, but that's okay. But share the times, and that's so friggin' exciting.
Yeah. It is.
Absolutely, it is.
Well,
And
and oh, sorry, go ahead.
I haven't looked yet, but I'm going to check the website to see if it's on the website. So we might actually be able to put the link there as well.
Ooh, that's
Once I
exciting.
have that, I will pass that along to you ladies. So yeah, it's fabulous. And again, who knows where this could lead to, and getting it broader into and across the country here, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
The whole global is where we want to go, and I'm open for
Mhm.
that.
Yeah.
But this is a great place to start.
One step at a time. And we are witnessing that mass consciousness up leveling.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, considering this conversation just started with I feel like we need to have this 4 of us have a conversation and just get on a Zoom, and it's just kind of unfolded from there, and it's just again, the universe is here to support the collective consciousness, and we just need to embrace and take the steps. And sometimes we figure out, we look at wanting to become a global something conversation. And it started with just a simple, like, let's have a conversation at the very beginning. Let's put the 4 of us in a chat and let's start and see what happens and let the unfolding happen, right? And this is just like everything else. We need to let go of the what is it going to look like? How do we get there? And just embrace it and take one step at a time in the right direction that feels right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And that's that, follow the flow, follow the intuitive little nudges. And like Alana said, don't worry about how and where it's going and what might result in it. Just keep following that flow. And that's something that I've really, re-engaged with over this past summer of being in the flow of life. What is happening? What's coming up for you? And, I did that. Actually, I just got I possible I may be co-facilitating a retreat in Spain in November, and this just came up. And it's like this amazing, beautiful mentor of mine who's really big out there in the creative world, Whitney Freya, and she has this retreat happening in Spain. And her right-hand girl that helps is experience really a family trauma right now, and may not be able to go, which is really sad. And I truly hope she can go in the end. But this kind of came in and they talked and they said, well, I wonder if Janice can replace you if you can't go. So they reached out, and my initial reaction was like, oh, that's so cool and exciting. And then the worry came in of like, okay, so I'm going, it's everything's paid for as a co-facilitator, but I got to get my flight there. So then it was like, oh, how much are flights? And, worrying about the money. And then, oh my gosh, I got to travel there by myself. And, oh, all these little things started coming in. And I just went, no,
Yeah.
it's a yes or no. Because if I say yes, the universe will provide. If I say no, it's all fine, right? If I say no, not that at this time, it doesn't work, that's all fine. But so I leaned into the yes, and
Yeah.
we'll see what happens here. But that is one of those, like, just something that the universe flows into your life, and you get to say yes or no, but don't let the fears stop you, right? Don't let those little worries get in the way. It's just, did it light you up? Does it light you up? It's like, hell yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Go
And
paint in
that
Spain? I'm going to go paint in
oh,
Spain.
Yes. I love it.
that is
Yeah,
so awesome.
that would be
And that
fun.
ebbing and flowing is so important from the perspective of we want to do. Like,
Mm.
and I'm experiencing that with my rebranding and my website. Like there's that pressure of I've got to get this stuff done. It's got to be timely. It's got to be this. And I'm like, relax. It will get done. And when it's done, it's done. If I'm pushing myself, that's not the energy that I want to be working in. I've learned that, right, from past experiences.
Mhm.
So it's
That's where
learning to go
burnout
with the
comes in.
flow
Mhm.
Yeah.
and allow it to unfold the way that it's supposed to unfold. Um, I've got different projects on the go. I've got some books that I want to get out there. And I'm excited about them because the feedback that I'm getting from them is amazing. I had one person, you need to have this on an audio. And So it's that whole element of, okay, where am I going to go with this? And okay,
Mhm.
universe, which show me the way. Show me which is most important right now, because they're all going to come together,
Exactly.
right? They're all going to um not just flow, but they're all going to complement one another.
Mhm.
So I think that's why the ebbing and the flowing right now is so important. So for anybody who's out there, you're feeling like the 9 to 5 grind or the 7 to 3 grind is not working for you anymore. Trust that intuition, trust that questioning. And a lot of people go, well, I don't know what I should be doing. Start with what you're passionate about.
Yeah.
Sometimes going back to when you were a kid, what lit you up as a kid, you may find that there's an avenue to go. What is your skill set that you're at your job and you're really good at? You may be able to be a consultant. You may be able to take that and work for yourself, because we don't get rich working for someone else.
Mm.
Having that job, there's purpose in it. There was purpose in every one of my jobs that I had, but it led me to this point and this understanding that I can achieve what I want to achieve monetarily, business wise, and being able to step into and out of what's comfortable and familiar.
Yeah.
It is exciting. People will go into the fear. Well, fear and excitement, they're on the same continuum. Which
There.
one do you want to lean into a little more? Right?
Mhm.
And balancing that out. You don't want to dismiss your fear, but you don't want to let it take over.
Mm.
And
So
I just
this is
wanna
the time to explore.
just throw one other thing out there for people because, when we're questioning what we're doing in our lives, but we're feeling discontent in it, one thing is it even if you're really good at it, doesn't necessarily mean that's your path. So,
Mhm.
and for me, that was something as a teacher in the classroom, I was good at it and I did well in it for many years, but my heart was calling me somewhere else. And it took me quite a few years to take that leap. So take your time, whatever works for you, but know that even if you're really good at it, if you're not filled up and on fire about it, there's something else for you.
This is
Yeah.
true. I had a conversation with a client, or session with a client not that long ago, and that was exactly it. She kept getting put in this space because she was good at it,
Yeah.
and she felt so much resistance in it because she didn't want to be there anymore. She'd done it. She'd been there. She was really good at it. They kept putting her back in there, even though that's what she didn't want to do. But she had an opportunity, but she had to make that choice
Yeah. Yeah.
whether she wanted to stay there or continue on. Right. So we can, even if somebody's saying, or even if it feels good and it's easy and I can continue here, if it doesn't feel good for you, that there's a reason for that. And that just means there are opportunities and you just got to play with it. Doesn't mean you need to jump off, like we said earlier. You don't need to jump off the boat just yet. Don't burn the bridge. Just follow what feels good for you.
And
Well,
like you
back when I was growing up, it was like you stayed at one job for 50 years,
yeah.
40 years, 50 years, whatever. The reality of that today is it's almost non-existent,
Mm,
right? And that speaks to spiritual growth. It speaks to the change of paths for many people, right? But a lot of older folks, not so much the younger ones, but a lot of the older generations still struggle. And I know because I was one of them with that, following what we were taught, right? Get a good job, you know, work, work hard, get a pension. They worry about, I have fun when you're retired, right? I'm a big advocate. Live your best life now.
mhm,
Whatever that looks like means to you. Don't wait until a retirement comes along, right? I often say I knew a lot of people when I was growing up who were of the older generation that they were miserable and they were crotchety. They had regrets, right? They had resentments. And it's
mhm.
because they weren't living their life. They were doing what they were thought was
Yeah.
right? What we're told. And that is changing. So if
Yeah.
something happens, a firing isn't necessarily a bad thing at a job. Sometimes we need that, speaking to a person who got fired from 3 jobs before she stepped into where she was supposed to go. Firings are just a door closing for you to go where you are meant to go.
Hmm. And Alana, you brought up a really good point there where you said your client had to make a decision. And there's where our power is. It's not waiting for permission, waiting for things to shift and change and the right perfect time to come up. Like we are in transformative times right now. And that means that you need to be willing to transform and you make the decision. You decide that I don't want this anymore. So I am going to open up and start to be curious of what else there is for me because I need to make a change. And when you do that, that's when whoosh, the universe comes in and supports you. But the universe isn't going to come in and go, here's your right path, go this way. Here's where your stars are all aligned. You're going to be super successful doing this. It doesn't happen that way. You find the desire in your heart. You lead yourself. And I always say soulfully aligned, like you let your soul lead you, but you have to decide. And those desires in your heart, they're there because that is where you need to be. That passion in some way, shape, or form. It may not be what you think it is, like, oh, I want to be a singer on stage, but maybe your voice isn't quite there, but you do need to be on stage speaking, right? Like, so there really is, the path is there for you if you pay attention and if you decide, I'm going to go and create this big life. I'm going to live my big life right now. That that's how it happens. You're in the driver's seat. Hmm.
That's the beauty of free will.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Free will, and then the universe comes along and supports you in it.
Yes.
I often say what we put out there, that's what the universe is going to reinforce.
Mhm. Mhm.
So
And I
funny.
find a lot of women that I work with are afraid to ask for what they want. They're afraid to claim it. They're afraid to make that decision because it will upset the boats of everyone else. So, there's another topic.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That fear of right or wrong. What if this is the wrong decision? I There is no wrong decision. There's lessons,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
They're just lessons, and what lessons about ourselves, right? Learning about what our strengths are, maybe what our weaknesses are, where we can change, right? I know, even from the perspective of the different jobs that I had taken over the years, every one of them have helped me to formulate what I'm doing now. So there is a purpose, even though you might not realize it in the moment, right? But it's that element of there is purpose in every place and everything that you are doing.
Absolutely.
100%. I say that too, like with people, whether they're trying to figure out what modality they're trying to do or teach, or, everything we do comes with us. So even if you're teaching, like, people that teach Reiki or do Reiki, for example, and you could apply this to anything, is the fact that, each one of us brings all of the mix of things that we have done in our life into that experience. So for, like I said, for example, for Reiki, even when you give a Reiki session, it is every person, no matter if even if all of us did Reiki, every person does it differently because we have our own experiences, our own um tools, our own, like, because I've done leadership in the military, I've done all kinds of different things that I bring all of that into my coaching and into my sessions. So we don't just, you've done one experience and that's it. You're going to leave it there when you leave a job, or when you're going to let this skill go, or this understanding, or this awareness, or this experience go because you've passed by it. No, you take all of those things with you no matter what you do. So that becomes your unique, like, magic that you take into it, whether it's a practice, whether it's your job, you take all of those skills with you.
Yeah, that's so cool. That I've often looked back on my life because I started out just kind of trying to find my way, feeling very drawn to business, coming from a small business family. Um, and during that time of kind of going from one job to another, I was deep diving into my spirituality and going to these women's circles for years in Guelph, Ontario. I would drive an hour and whatever to get there once or twice a week. And that's where I learned all my psycho spiritual development, my shamanic practices, my meditation, like all of the energy work, the plant work, all of that. And then, after that, then I've always been an artist, so I've always had painting on the side. So the spirituality was in the closet, the painting was a side hobby, and then I went and became a teacher, and later in my years, and so I went back to school, became a teacher, and it was like, 20 years later, they're they've all come together. Now I am a spiritual mentor, teacher, creative mystic, right? Where I bring painting into it. So you never know how it comes together, but every little piece was a little bit of what you're learning and growing in on your journey in order to, follow that uh path of serving, right? How do I serve in the world? Well, I'm bringing, like you said, Elena, you're bringing it all with you.
Mm,
That's beautiful.
exactly.
You just made me give the vision of a mosaic,
Yeah,
right?
Mhm.
All those different pieces coming together.
it really is. It's like pieces of the puzzle, right? And by the time we finished, like you said, Pam, we don't want any regrets, right? I remember that we're going out of here alone, like on our own, not taking anything with us.
I love how you reference the puzzle because I feel like that's what we all are in this journey, right? We come here, we think it's for a purpose. We get caught up on that our purpose and what we teach or what we do or what we create or how we serve. And none of that matters. We're really truly here to become to understand ourselves more. And every time we have an aha moment about ourselves and understanding about ourselves, it's like one of those pieces of the puzzle that you're talking about that kind of falls into place. Even like you said, Pam, around our jobs, around the skills that we bring in, but even the understandings of our own journey, like the people who we've become or who we've been as a child, all of those things kind of come in and you have another piece of that puzzle. You understand yourself more and then you become more and more whole. We come here to understand and find the wholeness. We're already whole, but we feel like there's pieces missing and we come here to understand those pieces. And
And
everything that
it's
happens in our
learning to
life is
be.
here for that. Sorry, yeah.
Sorry about that. It's learning to be, right? We're not human doings. We're human beings. And so in that understanding of ourselves, it's that being who we are, right? Remembering who we are, like you said, Alana, and then being that unapologetically, being that, and knowing that that being can transform, can take a different shape, can do different things. But it's always about that place of being wherever you are.
Yeah. And I feel like as I get older, the more I have followed my soul path, the more I have followed the guidance and nudges, the fuller my life is. There isn't anything missing. I get to just keep adding to it. And there is a sense of fullness and completeness. And there's no, I'm not striving for anything. I'm not like grasping at anything. It's just a really beautiful fullness. Don't know how else to
Mhm.
say it.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
I love that.
Well, that almost feels like a good place for us to wrap it up for this week. What do you guys think? Are you good?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. Okay. So we just want to thank everyone for being here. And as this circle closes for now, the light remains. So not just with not just here, but within you too. So remember that light is here. Let these teachings echo through your being like a lighthouse calls over the sea, steady, unwavering, and sovereign. I love that word, sovereign. So, share what touched your soul. Leave us messages. Please share this with anyone that you think may need to hear these words. And remember that you are the light, you are the way, and the circle will be here when you need to return. And we will see you next week. Thank you, everyone, for being with us.
Amazing. Thank you.
Bye, everybody.